Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Lily Reads. Okay, so in today's video, we are going to be doing a July wrap-up where, of course, I talk about all the books that I read in July, just in case you didn't watch the videos, the vlogs that I put up about these books, and we'll talk about some of the books that I read that had nothing to do with videos. I just read them on my own. Okay, so how do I describe my reading month for the month of July? It was a bit excellent. I had the most 5-star reads in this month since I've had since February. February, I had a lot of 5-star reads. Then I entered a terrible reading slump, reading lull, where I was just reading a bunch of terrible books. Now we are back in the thick of it because I am back getting 5-star reviews. Let me look through my list and let me come back and tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I gave 6 books 5 stars. I believe I gave 4 books 4 stars. Then I had some 3 stars, and we really only had 3 duds this entire month. Everything else was either like fine to like okay, like I probably didn't need to read this, but I'm not mad at the fact that I did. Or it was excellent. So like this was a solid reading month, and I'm just going to hop right on into it so I don't keep you guys longer than I have to. The first one is the Lily Reads book club pick. But first I want to tell you what August book club pick is. I already told you what it is. If you've watched that video, you know, but Fake It Till You Bake It by Jamie Wesley is the August book club pick for the Lily Reads book club. I am so excited to read this book and talk to you guys about this book at the end of August, just like we talked about Confessions of an Alleged Good. So yes, that is the book club pick of the month. Fake It Till You Bake It. If you want to read it, and then when we do the live show at the end of August, you can give me your thoughts, you can give me your feelings, and you can give me your opinions. But before we get into that, we have Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl. We read this for July. It was the book club pick of July, and across the board, everyone gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. This book was so damn excellent. This book follows a girl who has been in a relationship with this guy named Dom, who goes to her church. Her parents love him, and they have been trying to have sex, but every time they try to have sex, she just can't seem to do it. Her body almost like is repulsed by the idea. So she and 2 other people set out to figure out why she cannot have sex. And by doing this, she tries to shed her image of being this good church girl that everyone knows and expects from her. This book was so excellent. Okay, let me get into a rant really quick. I am kind of over adult romance. I am over adult romance, and here is why. Adult romance does not have plots. That's why I'm really worried when it comes to assigning adult romance for the book club. Adult romance these days don't have plots. So much so when people are marketing an adult romance book to people, they just market the tropes. They tell you the tropes, but they don't tell you a summary of the book. For some reason, we have decided the plot comes second, and like the tropes and the sexual tension and the everything else comes first. And that is not why I read stories. I could just go read some KU smut if I just want to read about people having sex. I want an actual story that leads to a romance. I want romance books to be good books at the heart of them. I want us to come up with a plot and an idea, and then based on that, see what tropes help fit into that narrative. But that's not what we're getting in adult romance. Like, the plot sucks. The plot simply sucks. It's just a bunch of tropes. It's like, okay, you need to make an enemies lovers book, and then so that's what they do, and then they throw in all types of different tropes that everyone loves. And I get why they're doing it's 100% to get the TikTok girls to talk about it so someone buys your book. But I'm done with that. I want books, even in romance, that elicit conversation, that elicit people wanting to know what happens, people falling in love with characters, like having scenes that you like in the book, having like, we just had such a deep conversation about this book, because at the heart of this, yes, this is a romance, but it's a book that has an excellent plot, an excellent message, excellent ideas, and that's not what I can say about a lot of adult romance. So I'm over adult romance. I just think adult romance is so stale and so tired, and that's why this year I have been leaning towards YA romance, only Black, let's be clear, YA romance, and giving it 5 out of 5 stars, because I just see plots in ways that I'm not seeing in adult romance. And adult romance is just about Everything is building up just to get them to have sex. And it's like, what if we eliminated the sex scene? Like YA books usually do. Then what else do you have? What else do you have? Do you have a good plot? Do you have a good story? Do you have good characters? But when people recommend romance books these days, it's just about, it has this trope, it has this trope, and it's like, I don't give a damn about the tropes. Is the book good? You can come any trope. I have tropes I like and tropes I don't like. But if the book is written good, I can fuck with any trope if the book is good. And that's not what we get. So this book was just, it was just so good. It was so timely. What I love about Joya Goffney, she wrote Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry as well. She tells stories that are so specific. Like either you had this experience or you didn't. And so like, because like I grew up like in kind of the same way as the characters in her book, it's just so on the nose. And then in the ways that I did it, I've like seen other people go through those things. It's just so, and then on the other side of that, the things I'm not able to relate to, I'm able to learn things about the people who did grow up in those situations. It's just so damn good. This book was so damn good. If you have not picked this book up, please do. 5 out of 5 stars. It is my favorite book that I read the entire month of July, and it 100% is in the top 10 books that I read this year. I loved it. I can't believe our first book club pick was absolutely a hit. The next book I gave 2.5 out of 5 stars, and that is Near the Bone by Christina Henry. This book follows a girl who lives out in a cabin with her husband until one day she comes across a fox or a wolf. It's one of the two. And that causes an air of like, what's going on here? That's not something that usually happens. So she runs home and she tells her husband, hey, I came across this dead animal. Something weird is happening. And then they go out to look for this animal and they find that there is something out in this woods that has been killing a lot of the wildlife around them. And that sets the husband on a mission because he is very godly. He is very Christian-y, and he's like, this is something of the devil. This is work of the devil. We need to find this thing. So they set out on a mission to find this beast. But then they find some kids who are also looking for this exact same beast. And these kids, and now this wife and husband, they are intersecting and their lives are intersecting. And the kids want to know what's going on with the wife. The husband wants to know what's going on with the kids. There's secrets, there's things unraveling, and there's this thing out in the woods that is killing people. That is what this book is about. This book did not work for me. This book had all the elements of a book that I would surely give 4 stars, but I just feel like it amounted to nothing. I stopped caring. Like I got about 72% of the way through and didn't care anymore. Like it just never fulfilled on a promise I felt like was given to me. It never felt creepy. For this to be in the Goodreads horror category of 2021, I want it creepy. I want it spooky, maybe even a little supernatural. I never got any of those things. The characters that do come into the story, I don't find all that compelling. A lot of this book feels like just a regular old domestic thriller that you've read before. Like it just doesn't commit to one idea and stick with it. Then we get to the end and I feel like the ending is rushed and I'm just like, what did I read this for? I just felt like this book was a letdown. So 2.5 out of 5 stars. If you want to know some in-depth thoughts on this, I read this for my vlog, Reading Books About Animals. You can go over and check that out. The next book that I read was The Traveling Cat Chronicles. The Traveling Cat Chronicles is about a man and his cat. So this man decides that he needs to give his cat away for reasons. He found this stray cat in the middle of his neighborhood one day, and so they've been living together. He took in the stray cat, and then one day he decides he has to get rid of his cat and he needs to find someone to take care of the cat. So he sends emails out to all of his friends asking who will take care of his cat. So we're following this cat as he goes from friend to friend to friend to figure out who's going to take care of the cat. This book is told in the POV of the cat, and this I gave 4 out of 5 stars. This book was so brilliant. This book was so brilliant. This book moved me to tears. This book was so deep. It had me thinking about life. I was just sitting here so philosophical, and it's just, this is a really, really, really good book. If you have not read it, do. It's a really short book. It's also translated. I mean, if you speak English like me, it's translated, and I thought it was excellent. Also read this book for my book about animals. We read 2 graphic novels this month, both that were hits. I finally read the first volume of Heartstopper. Heartstopper is about these 2 boys who go to high school together and they slowly fall in love with each other. This was excellent to me. This was cute. This was fun. That's really all I have to say much about it. It was cute. It was just cute. It was wholesome. It was a lot of fun. And that's what I look for in novels. That's what it was. And I loved it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I will be continuing it. I don't know when I will be continuing it, but I will be picking up other volumes. And I told myself I'll keep reading them until I don't enjoy them anymore. So I will be reading the next volume. Okay, so the next book I read was This Thing Between Us by Gus Morano. This book was the most surprising book of the month because I have no clue what happened in this book. I have no clue what happened in this book. So this book follows a man while he is grieving the death of his wife. His wife died unexpectedly. But the thing is, before she died, some really strange and mysterious things have been happening in the home that the husband and wife share together. Their Alexa has been sending random things to their house, and just some spooky things have been happening. So this entire book, you are following a man as he deals with the death of his wife and everything that comes along with it. And through that, you get these horror elements as he tries to understand why he lost his wife so soon in life. This book takes you up, this book takes you down, but I enjoyed the ride through and through. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think I understand the ending. I don't know if I understand the ending, but I recommend this book all the way, baby. This book was so much, not fun, but just so deep. There's certain things that were said that had me thinking. Even when we get to the horror elements, I was thinking to myself, why were these specific horror elements used to convey these certain things? I constantly had to read pages over because I'm trying to imagine what is going on in this book, and I simply can't. I don't know what's real. I don't know what's fake. It just took me for a ride, and that's what I want in a novel. I want a novel to smack me across the head, have my expectations and shatter them. Give me something I haven't read before this year. Really wake it up. And that's what this book did for me in July. It woke up my July. I was like, oh, this was good. So I give it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Once There Were Wolves. So Once There Were Wolves is about this woman. This woman and her crew had decided they want to end deforestation in Scotland, and they want to reintroduce the wolves into Scotland because all the wolves have been killed off for several reasons in Scotland, and that has caused deforestation, that has caused things not to grow, that has caused basically wildlife to be out of control because they need the wolf population in order for things to be, for it to be a good ecosystem. Well, so this girl and her crew decided to go to Scotland, and they're going to reintroduce wolves to this environment. So this girl has a sister. She has a sister who is kind of a little weird. We don't really know what's going on with the sister. She's weird. She's all of these things. But then as the story continues to go, these wolves are being introduced. There's a lot of contention between everyone in the community because you have some people who want the wolves. Most people don't want the wolves. You have our main character. She's going through personal things. This book was a perfect storm. This book was a perfect storm to me. Every single thing mattered. You have a murder mystery going on. You have family secrets going on. You have the stuff that's going on with the wolves. You have towny bullshit. It has every element that I look for in these creepy, mysterious novels. I love the hell out of this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. That's what this month is. This month is just me hitting it in every single angle. 4 out of 5 stars here, 4 out of 5 stars there. I loved it. I loved it. I did. The next book that I read was a 5 out of 5 star. We have another 5 out of 5 stars that we got in the month of July, and that is Wash Day. Wash Day is a graphic novel. It is absolutely amazing. So this book follows a group of 4 friends who live in New York City, and basically all the drama that is going on in their life and how that drama correlates with their hair. And basically you're following these girls as all of them get their hair done or are dealing with things with their hair, and and how that relates to their personality and everything going on with it. This book was perfect. This book was perfect in every single way. When I say I want to get into graphic novels, these are the ones I mean. These are the ones I mean. Like, this book was so good. This is one of my favorite books of the year. If you have not picked up Wash Day, it is by Jamila Rouser and Robin Smith. Please go do so. Please go do so. This book was so damn good. The pictures are so good, like so good. Every single girl gets her own like color scheme and stuff like that. Like, it's so good. You're dealing with love, you're dealing with depression, you're dealing with family issues. Like, everyone has their own plight, everyone has their own issues. As a Black girl, it just hit me where it needed to hit me. The next book that we have, I'm gonna get them out of the way because I'm tired of seeing them. It is the Summer I Turned Pretty series. Overall, if I take all the ratings I gave every single book, I think overall I rated this series a 2. It will be, all of this series will be a 2. So you have The Summer I Turned Pretty, It's Not Summer Without You, and We Always Have Summer. I started watching The Summer I Turned Pretty series on Amazon Prime. It's a bit excellent. It's a big excellent. Don't say because these books are bad I don't like the series. The series is doing something that these books did not do. There's depth. The series on Amazon Prime has depth that is really good. You get to understand the characters. You get to understand Connor and what's his name? What the hell is the other brother name? Conrad and Jeremiah. Ooh, you get to really understand them. You get to understand our main character. But these books are dull. These books are boring. These books are dull. You don't understand the backstory. They're just very of their time to me. Like, they're just doing nothing special. The whole love triangle doesn't feel like a love triangle. It almost feels weird. Like, these two older boys liking their little, like, almost like their little sister. Like, it never was good to me. None of these were ever good to me. I found the main character to be annoying. She was not like other girls. Like, she was just like, she was annoying. She was mean to her friends. But I do recommend you go watch the series on Amazon Prime. But overall, I gave the entire book series a 2. I would not recommend, if you have not read the books but you want to watch the series, or you are watching the series, you don't need to go back and read the books. You do not need to go back and read the books. There is nothing there for you. They're not good. You can just call me an old hag and I'll just have to claim it. They're not good. And I think that's objective. These are objectively not good. I don't think Jenny Han could go back and read these and be like, whoa, this is amazing, like, writing. Like, no, it's not written well. The characters aren't good. The characters aren't fleshed out. The plots aren't good. The decisions that the main characters make aren't good. Like, it just, no. I give that whole series, that's the dud of, unfortunately, we did have one dud, and that's the dud of the month. Okay, we are going to go to actually kind of another dud, but not really. Greenwich Park by Catherine Falker. So this book follows a pregnant woman who goes into a prenatal class, and all of a sudden she meets this woman. She meets this woman who seems kind of whimsical and weird, and they hit it off sorta, but it seems like this woman is trying to force her way into our main character's life, and she kind of accomplishes it. They become friends, but one day she finds that the main character is the girl from the prenatal class is probably being abused, and the woman comes and moves in with them, and that starts to uncover secrets about everyone. I think that will be the plot. This is one of the first books I read in July, and I'm a little confused on how it happened or whatever. I did not like this book. This book has one of these things, and I want to warn you just in case. This book, number one, I thought this book took place in New York because I didn't realize it said Greenwich Park. And also, Greenwich Park, sorry. And also, this book has an ending where, like, the villains of the book just tell you their plans all at the end. Like, you read a note, you read 1, 2, or 3 notes, and everyone's plan gets unraveled. You learn how this person is connected to this person and what happened here and what happened there. And that's so uninteresting. That is so uninteresting to me. I'm not the only one who hates that, but I don't like the, end of story, this is how I did it all type monologue that we get, especially when it's in a letter. Like, I hate it so much. But basically, that's what this book is about. This is about these people who live overseas, and basically everyone has secrets, everyone has lies, everyone is connected, and that's how it goes. This was a dud to me. I did give this book 2 out of 5 stars. I wanted to like it, but unfortunately this book will end up in my unhaul at the end of the year. It just wasn't good. It just wasn't good, unfortunately, but I had high hopes, but what can you do? There were so many things. I didn't love the writing. I didn't love the way things were revealed. I didn't love the reveals. It just, and also there wasn't enough breadcrumbs to figure out like what people were doing. So even that wasn't fun. It was just one of those things like you read the story, the villains tell you their villainy, and then that's it. That's it. So one last dud, and then I'll get into 4 or 5 star books. Okay? The Club. The Club wasn't a dud. I gave The Club 3 out of 5 stars. Let me tell you what it's about, then I'll tell you what's wrong with this book. This book follows a man who inherited a business from his grandfather, and then all of a sudden he comes up with this idea for these luxury clubs that'll be all over the world, and basically if you have the right ends, if you know the right people, you can stay at these clubs and, you know, be rich and fabulous. But well, the story starts with us finding out that someone at the club is dead. He is opening up this new club in some place, and someone has been found dead at the club. They have been found in the middle of the ocean in a Range Rover that has been capsized. Well, we start the story from the beginning, meeting everyone at the club, and everyone has motives, everyone has reasons to be the reason why someone is dead. So we unravel everyone's motive, why someone is dead, and get the final who done it and who's dead and all of that at the end. I would describe this book as a Reese Witherspoon book club pick. A Reese Witherspoon book club pick. I hope one day you can read a romance novel and be like, this is the Lily Reed's book club pick. This is a Reese Witherspoon book club pick when it comes to thrillers. It's boring. It's one person is dead. It's who done it, but no one's motive is too strong. Some people are strong, some people are not. You're not really sure of what's really going on. Once you find out what's going on, you don't really care that much. It's just boring. Reese Witherspoon Book Club likes boring thrillers that are just about like society and sociology and how people connect with one another. There's just never any big reveals. There's never any big blind sides. It's just you learning about people, and then someone ends up dead. I did not like this book. I don't like the way this book is written. The stuff we find out over like 20 pages, and we don't even have to find it out that way. It's just the way the book is written. The book has so many adjectives and everything to describe something. It's just like, can we get to the point? This book could literally chop off 30 pages just by getting to the point. It didn't work for me, so I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I read this for Summerween, but I will not be unhauling it because I can't unhaul a pretty cover. I love this cover. I went back and forth on which one I should unhaul because as you can see, I just don't have room to keep all the books, even though I like covers. I like this cover too, so I went back and forth. Both of these books didn't work for me, but which cover do I like better? I like this cover better, even though if I had to reread something, I would probably reread this. So like, even though this one got the higher ranking, I believe this is the better book. This book is not good to me, but maybe I should get rid of this one and keep this one. Everything. This cover is just better to me. I love this cover, but I can't keep both. I can't keep both. One of them has to. Okay, you guys, we are on our last 4 books. These books are all 5 stars. These books are all, can you believe it? I've already told you guys about 2 5-star books that I gave, but guess what? There are 4 more to go. Like I'm a new person. I am a new person. I have decided that negativity breeds innovation. Negativity breeds greatness, because like I was negative on every single video that I made about the books that I have read this year. And the minute I started being negative and being like, y'all have to do better, guess what? There has been change. There has been change within me. I have gravitated towards novels that speak to me, that have made me feel good, that have ignited something in me. So we're going to get on into them. Only one of them I read for a video, so we'll get to that one first. Comfort Me with Apples. I read this book for Summerween. I fucking loved it. I cannot believe this book did not win the horror Goodreads category, because that's how great this book made me feel. This book follows a woman who lives in this gated community where everything is great, everything is fine. There are a lot of rules, but those rules are put in place to make sure that everything runs smoothly. No one worries about things. Everything is nice. So she has this amazing life, except for the fact that she cannot go in her basement. That is the only real strict thing she cannot do. she cannot go in her basement. But other than that, she is just living this marvelous and amazing life until one day she starts to question things when she starts to find random parts of someone else's body in her home. And slowly but surely, her life begins to unravel. This book was creepy. There's a scene in this book that takes place in a park that it brings me out of my character. It brings me out of my body because it just spooked the hell out of me. I loved it. This book was amazing. I recommend this book. It is very short. It accomplished what it needed to accomplish. It had so many tropes that I love in horror books and thriller novels. It hit the nail right on the head. Like, it gave me everything I wanted. Number one, I love a domestic thriller. Number two, I love things are not what they seem. Number three, I love a spooky place that you cannot enter. I love neighbors being a part of like everything that's going on. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. The next 3 books I have not told you anything about because I read them on my own. I Want to Be Where You Are. This is a road trip book. Yes, I gave a road trip book 5 out of 5 stars. By the way, YA romance. This book is by Christina Forrest. Christina Forrest is kind of becoming a mother to me and she does not even know it. Christina Forrest, this is her 3rd published book. She is publishing another book, I believe, at the top of 2023. The cover and the title have already been announced, but she wrote this book. She wrote the Zyla and Kai. That's going to be a book club pick at the end of this year. And she also wrote Now That I Found You. But anyways, for the first time this month, I read a Christina Forrest book and I love this book. This book is a road trip book. So you have this black girl who I forgot where she lived. She lived in New Jersey, I believe. And she wants to be a ballerina. But her mom is very strict on her because she lost her father very young. So she doesn't want anything to happen to her daughter that happened to her husband. So basically she kind of has to like stay sheltered and all this stuff. But she wants to audition for this ballet company because she wants to be a ballerina. Instead of going to a traditional college, she wants to go to dance school. So she decides to embark on this plan. She is going to be a ballerina. She is going to audition for her favorite ballet teacher and hopefully she gets into the program. So that starts our story. Her mother is going on vacation and she lies to her mother and says she's going to go stay at her friend's house. But instead of staying at her friend's house, she is going to go audition in New York City for this company. Is it New York City or is it DC? I believe it's DC. They're going to Washington, DC, I think. I think that's where they're going. They're going somewhere. Anyways, so then the boy across the street, he has to go visit his father in the exact same place. So he's like, I can come with you. And then I can take a train down to North Carolina where my father lives. So how about we go on this road trip together? She's against it because her and this boy have history. They've never liked each other. Like, they have liked each other at one point, but they fell out as friends. There's just a lot of history that has built up between them. But for reasons, they do end up going on this road trip together and things happen. This book is so good. This is a quick book. Like, it's a really quick and easy book to read. But what I loved about this is the complexity of the characters. The characters, every time we learn something about the characters, there's more to the story. Like, a lot of times, like I said, in adult romance, like, there's nothing to the characters. There's no complexity. There's no depth. These characters had so much depth to me. Like, you would learn something about characters, then there was something else, and then there was something else, and I learned something about myself. I love a companion dog. I love it when there is a dog in the story who is a companion to one of the main characters. I love it. I learned it from this book that I really loved it. And I'm like, I've always loved this being used in stories. How like someone has like a dog or a pet that they constantly take with them everywhere or that they constantly reference. I love that so much. This book had that. That's one of my favorite tropes, I believe. 'Cause, like, I'm learning that I really like that. But this book was so good. All the stops they made, all the figuring out that they did. It was just so wholesome and so cute. 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. Great characters. I would love to read more books from all of these characters. It was so good. The next book that I read was The Wife Between Us. This book gets dragged. There's two sides of the internet on The Wife Between Us. The people who like the people who like The Wife Between Us and the people who hate The Wife Between Us. But the people who hate The Wife Between Us are so fucking loud. They are so fucking loud on the internet. Therefore, I thought I was going to hate this book because the people who do hate this book so fucking much. I saw this book on sale for $2. For $2, this book was on sale for $2 at a bargain bookstore. And guess what? I purchased it. I said, I'm going to read it. You guys, this book was great. I am a domestic thriller girl. That is my bread. That is my butter. I love domestic thrillers. When I say I like domestic thrillers, these are the ones that I like. These are the ones that I liked. I liked every single facet of this book. I'm not even going to tell you what this book is necessarily about because I feel like once you tell what the book is about, like people like either go eat side, try it. I know a lot of people hate this book, but I'm not one of them. All the twist work, the relationship between the women, it worked for me. It all worked for me. I'm sorry. I'm on the internet. This book is popular in real life. That's what you have to understand about book reading. There are books that are popular in real life. Like, obviously, you can go in any bookstore right now and you're going to find this book. Then there's books that are like unpopular on the internet, and that's what this book is. I think this book is perfectly popular in real world, like stay-at-home moms with their glass of wine love this book. But then when you get on the internet, most people hate this book. I'm not one of them. I enjoyed this book. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars with room. Like, yes, some of the ending could have been better. I could have rewrote a few things, but like overall, when I say I like domestic thrillers, I like domestic thrillers like this. Like when you see this book and what I hated about this book does that better. Like, I just feel like one is clunky and tried something and failed, and this is just this book executed 10 times better. It was just, I loved it. I love the dual POVs. I loved everyone's. I love the breadcrumbs that you can like, and it's one of those books where you can kind of like figure out what's going on based on the things that are left for you. It was just good all around. The book that had the biggest effect on me, Instruction for Dancing. If you guys watched my video where I said I'm unhauling a bunch of books if I don't read them by the end of the year, well, one book is off that list because I read Instructions for Dancing and I loved it. It's by Nicole Yoon. I've never read any other Nicole Yoon books. I know she's She Who Became the Sun, something like that. I've never read those. I have no desire to read those, but this worked for me. So this book follows a girl who basically decides to enter a dance competition. She's asked to enter a dance competition and she enters the dance competition and she meets a guy and they slowly start to have a romance. But before that happens, she's noticed that she has gotten magical abilities where she is able to see the timeline of everyone's relationship around her as long as they kiss in front of her. So basically both these things are happening at the same time. She sees the entire timeline of everyone's relationship and she's currently falling in love with a boy. But basically she's kind of jaded by love because once you see people's relationship and then see how they break up, she no longer believes in love because even the best of relationships kind of have an expiration date. So basically you're following these two young adult black kids who are trying to figure out life, and there's just different facets of it. This book worked in every single way, and this book had me thinking about my relationships with YA romance, because by the end of this I was crying. Are you serious? By the end of this I was 100% crying, and I'm like, why am I crying? This book ended the way every good romance book ends. Like, I'm gonna spoil it. Spoiler, they end up together, but like, why are you crying? So it begs the question, what if you found, this is all spoilery, but stay with me. It begs the question, what if you found out, what's a romance novel that I loved? What if you found out all the couples in the romance novels that you read don't end up happily ever after? What if they just are happy for this moment, for this book, and 2 weeks later they break up, 3 weeks later they break up, someone gets ran over, they don't always end up together? Does that make the book any less good if you found out, hey, but they don't end up together? It asks that question to myself, like, is a romance novel fine that it's just like boom? Because I'm a person who always says I don't like it in the epilogue when they tell us, so these people ended up having 15 kids and I'm always like, I really didn't need that. Like, I'm perfectly fine for them being happy for now. But this book kind of questioned that idea. Like, are you happy with them just being happy for now? What if I made it canon that they're not going to be happy forever? Whoa, like, I don't know. This book, like, 5 out of 5 stars. That's the end of this. That is the end of this one. July was great. I hope August is just as great, because maybe the last half of the year is where I read my best. And I think the reason why I got better books this month is because I'm now more intentional about the books that I'm picking up. Like, I'm picking up books that I think I am actually going to enjoy, like fully enjoy. And I'm also stepping out of my comfort zone. Like, I'm like trying different things, because it's like what you comfortable with ain't working, boo-boo. So try something new. Anyways, that is the end of this. If you want to see more of me, hit me up on Patreon, which is As Told by Kenya. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.